LCAC started in 1973. There was a group of local women who were volunteering at Gunston Elementary School, which is, a mile from here, when they realized the kids were coming to that elementary school hungry. And they were dismayed. At that time, Lorton was incredibly rural. The place where LCAC is located now used to be a huge farm, the Murphy Farm, and so this was a much more isolated area than what it is today. So these women began collaborating with faith communities. Cranford United Methodist Church and Shiloh Baptist were the first two that pooled their volunteers, for lack of a better way of describing them, and began to work with trying to find a solution to this issue of hunger in their community that they did not know existed. And so these women were incredibly resourceful. They started by getting on a school bus and taking food to the kids to their homes when they would go home in the afternoon. And so they would ride the bus with the kids in the community and drop off food so that those kids and their families might have enough to eat. And those women, led by Christine Herbstreit, who is our founder, officially in 1975 incorporated and created LCAC, which at that time was called LCIC, Lorton Community Information Center. And so in 1975, Christine and a few other women began to try to meet the needs of the kids who were coming to Gunston Elementary School. And they realized that food was just one piece of the need in this community. And so they began to gather information about food stamps and senior information and how to heat your homes and a variety of things that was important, that folks in this area might have to drive, an hour or more away in order to get to a county facility to get those questions answered. So then these same incredibly resourceful women, led by Christine, began to kind of twist the arms of local businesses. Ray Rainwater, who has since died, who started Rainwater Concrete and Rainwater Landfill, and the Mason Neck Lions Club, which is still going strong and is still a huge supporter of LCAC. And they twisted the arms of these men in the community to build us our first building, which is now what we affectionately call the Gunston Shed, which is an older building that sits on Gunston Elementary School property. And that was our first offices. That's where we had a clothing closet. That's where volunteers stored food and met with families in need for a number of years. In 1984, Christine twisted some more arms and convinced the county to use CDBG money, which is federal funds, to purchase this land that LCAC is currently located on. And so Fairfax County owns this land and this house. LCAC in 2011 utilized private funds to build our current pantry, but the county owns the remainder of this property. And over the course of time, Christine and others in the community began to add to the things that we did based on the needs that they saw. Besides providing information and food, they began to provide people with heating assistance. I have documents going back to the 70s and early 80s of buying firewood and propane and a variety of things for families in need in this community. Then they began to provide rental and mortgage assistance, and eventually moved into seasonal programs. Our Thanksgiving and Christmas were the first ones to be rolled out, and later in the late 1990s we started helping with school supplies as well. Our mission, which had been going on by this point for a number of years, more than a dozen, is really kind of captured in our statement that we use today. Our mission is to enhance the quality of life in our community by providing food, basic needs, and self-sufficiency programs through the generous support of our community. For many years, LCAC has been focused solely on basic needs, providing food, opening our thrift store, which happened in the early 2000s. LCAC realized that the population in Lorton was changing, and we began to realized that adult education and children's education were really greatly in need in this part of the county. And that helped us move towards programs that led people towards a more self-sufficient path. In 2003, somewhere around there, LCAC started our ESL programs, our English as a Second Language classes. And for many years, those classes were led and taught by volunteers. Then we rolled out nutrition classes for adults in our community and kids one-to-one tutoring programs, which is a partnership with area schools. And eventually added an additional piece, a free legal clinic, which is a partnership with the Fairfax Pro Bono Foundation. In 2012, we started our after-school programs at Gunston and William Holly Elementaries and financial management or financial budgeting classes. Now, none of this work that we do or that we've done since 1975 is possible without the hard work and the enormous number of volunteers. Last year, more than 810 volunteers helped to make this all happen. All of the food that was passed out, all of the emergency rent and utility assistance, the Thanksgiving and the Christmas and the back to school and the work in our thrift store and our ESL classes, none of it would be possible without the more than 800 volunteers who gave over 21,000 hours over the course of a year. And those amazing volunteers partner with a small staff of 10 to impact more than 3,000 people unduplicated each year. Now, your work helps a lot of people in this community who may have a tough time saying thank you to you because of pride, because of fear, because of judgment. So we're going to say it. Thank you. Thank you for the work that you do as volunteers. Thank you for helping people like Kimberly and Albert, people like Aiden and Marcus, and many others so that they might have food, clothing, a place to call home, and most importantly, hope in this world. Thanks.